They let me experiment with them, let me go, and we found out what worked and what didn't, and we pulled back. But there was trust that was built because I was open and I shared what was going on. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm on the upswing. Didn't miss a day of work. Didn't miss this podcast. We have a great episode for you. Closing thought of the day. This is the Ultimate OD podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am coming to you a little under the weather. I'm on the upswing. It was a rough week. I started feeling a little off on Tuesday. Wednesday, I felt a little all right. Got a little achy, little body aches. Like, all right, I just have Thursday to get through, and Thursday was a little rough. Woke up in the morning. Usually I work out. Looked at my wife and said, you know what? I'm just going to lay in bed till about 7:30 here. I usually get up at about 6. So I'm laying here till 7:30. Get ready for work, go. Just took some ibuprofen, manned up, got through it, and did work. Fridays I go in, usually have a meeting with the optical, and really I don't see patients. So, and I didn't have payroll or anything to do this week. Woke up really, like Wednesday night, I got an hour of sleep. And then Thursday, I got very little sleep as well. My HRV and my thing was like 18. Like I'm usually between 50 and 60, 18. I was really plummeting. And woke up middle of the night, just freezing, put on clothes, sleeping in bed. Looked at my wife and said, I'm freezing. And she touched me. She's like, you're burning up. Go. That explains a lot. And just proceeded to lay in bed all weekend. So if I, not quite as chipper, sound a little congested, have no fear. I'm going back to work tomorrow, Monday. I'm ready to go. And if I had to work Friday, I would have got through it. It's not like I couldn't function. It was just, we have those times. We have those days when you're just really stinking sick. And when you run your business, you run your practice, you got to show up and you got to get paid, right? If you don't go to work, everyone else is still there. The patients that you work so hard to get on the schedule, you don't want to inconvenience them. I know life happens. And there's going to be times. I've had a few times where I've been, literally I'm like, hey, I could just leave the exam room, run out the door, and puke and go back in. No, that doesn't usually work that well, right? But you just gotta go. And I know that's just the life I live. That's what we do. I share that with you, one, because you're going to be in this journey. You're going to have ups and downs, and you're going to be in a time when it's like, crap, we are slow. Things aren't going well. You get a little bit of momentum, and then you get sick. You're like, oh, no, what do I do now? Right? Or this is the worst. When you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, you are at a stress level of like 7 to 10 just constantly. That's your normal, right? Then you get some time off. Thanksgiving, Christmas, you take a vacation. You know what usually happens? Your stress level goes down. Your immune system is now not like at its maximum level, and you get sick. Like, didn't that happen in optometry school? Like, all semester you're good. You get that week off in between quarters, and you get sick all week because the adrenaline's down, right? Just, it doesn't stop when you get out of school. That's the life of a private practice owner. Just want to share that with you. Why? Because misery loves company. If you're sick, if you're fighting through it, there's a really bad flu season going on right now. My whole family, my daughter was sick for a week. Now my son's got it. Got 3 more in the family. We're just waiting for it to happen. We've had so many patients canceling because they're sick. I haven't seen it this bad in a while, but you fight through. You go, keep going forward because they're going to call. They're going to need exams. Like, even if they're sick and they're like, I just got to get, I need contacts or my glasses broke. Be there when they need you. If you have to take time off, make sure you do everything you can to communicate with the patients. Try to give them favorable ways to get back in. Like, hey, I'll make an exception. We'll work late this day. Whatever you have to do. But when you're scrapping and fighting to fill that schedule, don't take it for granted. But the real topic of today's podcast, today's episode is trust. And trust takes time. All right. This is a common conversation I've had since my uh, associate has started, is that you know the answer. You know what you want your patients to do. There's a million things that they should be doing. This is very common in our dry eye world, right? You look at them, it's diet, it's sleep, it's nutrition, it's lid hygiene, IPL, all these things. They were coming in for glasses. They didn't know they had this issue, right? If you're farming organically and they come in for a comprehensive, you have to build trust. And when you're going to switch them from their monthly lenses to a daily lens, you don't just do it. You build trust. Like, build a rapport with the patients. I have always been cognizant of that. When a patient comes in, and I've talked about this before, when they're a new patient, I try to rock the boat as little as possible. What can I do to make this an amazing experience for you, to make you feel comfortable that you made the switch? Well, a lot of patients will come from an old school practice and they come to my office and we're efficient, we're quick, we get them in, we get them out, we get them what they need. And they're like, this was way too quick. I'm used to it taking an hour, right? And that can throw them off. So I try to make sure they're heard, they get the best quality care, but I'm trying to build trust, trying to build that rapport. And over time, eventually, I'll make the switch to a daily lens, or I'll, get them to do the dry eye advanced therapy, the IPL treatment, right? But how do you build that trust? Sometimes it takes 3 dry eye evaluations. All right, I see them for the comprehensive. They come back, a month later. Then I see them 6 months later, and then we make the jump. But I'm building rapport, building trust. Okay, that's one aspect, right? To get a patient to do what you need them to do, they have to trust you. That applies to everything else that you do as a business owner. The associate that I work with, we had a great understanding when she came on. Like, nothing but the utmost, highest level of respect. But I know what I'm doing when I'm running the business, right? And I heard a lot of the things that she wanted to do, that she was going to try and do. And I literally just let her go ahead. Go after it. Let's go after it. And then we started looking at things and breaking it down. And when the results weren't coming as quickly as she wanted, we'd have weekly one-on-one conversations. And that's another thing. When you're running your business with your staff, with your associates, I don't care who, you need to communicate. And weekly one-on-one chats. And we do this often. We still are having one-on-one conversations. And they're invaluable. And throughout that, something that I do is, all right, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I do in this situation. And sharing my experience and how I operate has thankfully she's been receptive to it. I didn't really know how to say. I never went in there and said, this is what I do, you need to do this. But I said, these are the situations, these are my case studies, and this is what I did, right? Take it or leave it, but giving them exposure, giving them experience, that's really helped her. And we went from, like, she was doing 27% year supplies. We got real specific, talked about our how we do contact lens, how I do it, how she does it, and then we focus on it, and we're both over 55, 60% right now. We are killing it on year supplies. Pre-appointing was a little lower. We discussed how we do the handoff, what we do together, and now we're over 80%. We're at like 30, 40% on pre-appointing. And it's because we built trust, and it takes time. I even tell her, like, I wouldn't just come in and blindly hear what I have to say and be like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm skeptical all the time. That's me to a T, right? And we do some interesting things with amniotic membranes, and there's a way that I do that, and I'm talking to her about, I'm like, hey, it works, right? She's like, well, let me see, right? And then she saw the result, it's working. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm glad you get to see it. And she's like, not that I don't trust you. I go, I don't know. I get it. It's not that you don't trust me, but you have to see it to believe it. There has to be rapport built, right? No one just comes into a situation and automatically trusts someone. Right? My staff is the same exact way. When the managers, who are now managers and managing, were told this is what we're going to do, they kind of looked at me like, are you serious? We're going to move to a new office. You're going to add a new doctor. We're going to make all these switches and it's going to go smoothly? Yes. And they questioned it, right? But I have data, I have reports, and I'm showing them how it's working. And now they have trust. We added a bunch of VAs, and I'll give them credit. They let me experiment with them, let me go, and we found out what worked and what didn't, and we pulled back. But there was trust that was built because I was open and I shared what was going on. Okay? Trust takes time. You have to earn it every single day with your patients, with your staff, with your coworkers. You have to learn to trust yourself, right? That's the one thing about being the private practice owner is that, you know, your one job is to believe in yourself and you can't take days off. That takes time to actually believe in yourself that it's going to work out. I'm 13 years in and I'm going through the roller coaster and I just know we're going to be fine. But it's taken me like 10 years to get to that point that I was like, okay, we're going to be fine. And I still have times now where I look at the schedule and I'm like, well, this was a really crappy week. This sucks. And a little bit of doubt creeps into your head. Okay? So there's a few ways that you develop trust. And this can be applied to your patients, coworkers, staff, managers, you name it. How do you build trust? Number one, you have to be open. You have to communicate. Right? When I'm talking to my patients about what I want them to do, I am very clear and open. This is what is the best route, in my opinion. If you don't like this, we have alternatives, but I don't think it's to be as effective for this reason. Complete transparency. I'm trying to give them all the reasons and helping them find the best answer. Now, there's times when you know what's going to be best and you'll present it in such a way, but that's the art of what you're doing. You still have to get them to trust, right? A lot of times in the exam room, I kid you not, I'll go in and I'm like, you know what? The only reason you make a change is because you need new frames, new lenses. There's no change in numbers. And they buy 3 pairs, right? They're like, you know what? I trust this guy. Or I have patients that come in that are borderline. They haven't come in like decades. But they talked to someone and said, yeah, he told me not to get glasses. And I want to stab myself in the heart when I hear that, right? But those patients, when I'm honest and open about them, again, I'm trying to get a sale every single visit. I want to buy glasses. I want to buy sunglasses, contacts, you name it. But I'm going to be open and honest with them, right? This is the time I think you need to get these glasses, right? You're right on the borderline now. What I want you to do, get over to the counter and a year come back and see me, right? I'm playing the long game every single day with my patients. And now I have a following of patients that will come and they trust the crap out of me, right? If I say this is something new, we're going to do this. All right, let me see. Let's see what's going to happen. They also know if it doesn't work out, I'm going to take care of them. I've talked to them and said, hey, if you have issues, let me know. And then when they come in with that issue, they're like, oh, no, you already bought it. We make it happen for them, right? That's how you build trust. With my staff, I am completely open and honest. This is what our standards are. This is what I expect of you. This is what we're going to do, right? Communicate and then follow through. Say what you're going to do and then do it. That goes further than anything else. When you say you're going to do one thing and you do something else, you lose trust, right? And sometimes it's not even like you're giving them a raise. You're telling them this is going to be bad. Expect it. And you know what happens? It's bad, but they respect you. They trust you because you told them straight up, right? I have a staff member that I'll say, hey, you get away with more because you sell out for us. I know you will bleed for us because you've done it before. My old office manager, Casey, love her to death. When we went through COVID, we talked about, hey, what do you need to get paid right now? She's like, what can we afford to pay me? And she ended up making more than she would have. But I'm like, all right, thank you. You'll ride with me. I would sell out for her. But I told her it's really going to be a little rough right now. I'm not sure what to expect. And it was just me and her making it happen. And we did that, and I love her to death. And she and I had this bond. We worked really well together because there was trust. And I tell my managers too, like, one of the things they had to realize is, I go, you make it so a problem, a headache doesn't come to my table, I'm happy. Like, wave your magic wand and make it go away. You're like, but we can do that? Yes. And if you mess it up, we'll figure it out. You can't, like, just don't do something catastrophic, right? Like, if it's under like $200, just make it go away from me. And they do that, and they're like, oh, wow, this is really cool. He trusts me. Yes, I do, right? So communicate, do what you say you're going to do, be open and honest. And the other thing about trust is, don't take it for granted. Don't exploit it, but know that it's a marathon journey, right? It's something that is going to get developed over time, but you can lose it in an instant, right? When I was early in my ownership career, all I looked at was numbers. Bottom line, this is where we need to be for payroll. This is where we need to be for, wages, all this stuff. And I knew if I said, hey, don't come in, like, we're slow in the morning, you don't have to start till this time, we might lose some patient or we might lose some staff, right? And I did it. I'm like, I will make it work, right? And I valued the numbers over the person, and I lost some trust, right? And what happened when I did that is I didn't realize that not only did I lose that staff member, but I put this doubt in all the other staff members. What's he going to do? He's going to take care of himself. He's going to do this, right? I've had, since that time when I was learning, I've had staff members come in and I'm like, hey, love you to death. I know that this is not your long-term position. If you tell me, give me a heads up that you're going to leave, the more time you give me, I will keep you on. Like, I will have an extra high payroll because I need to hire someone here and I need to get them trained, but I'll keep you on. And I did that. And the staff saw it. They're like, if there's an issue, we come to them and we tell them what's up, right? That's the environment I wanted to create. So trust is something that you have to be willing to lose some battles, right? In the game of trust, you're not always going to come out the winner, per se, right? In the battle. But in the long run, you as a business owner, if you know where you're going, know where your vision is at, you will win every single time if you always win the trust of your people. Okay? And that is really easy to say. It's really hard to do. Really easy to say, really hard to do. But I'm telling you this right now, trust takes time, and trust is the secret sauce that will make your business grow and thrive. From your associates, your staff members, your patients, right? Do these things, emphasize trust, get everyone to row in the same direction, to be open and honest, and develop that culture of everyone helping each other out, trusting each other. It sounds corny, it sounds cliche, but I kid you not, that's how you grow your practice. I've seen it with my staff, with my associate, with my patients. My staff members also came in, they're new, right? We have half our staff is new in the last 6 months. And we had to have just meetings are the name of my freaking life the past 6 months, right? But having meetings on meetings on meetings and just be open and honest and putting stuff out there, right? That's part of the trusting process is that, hey, we're going to put it out there. We're going to, like, it's not to be taken personal. It's for you to grow, right? And from my associate doctor, myself, my staff, when we put it out there, it's not always comfortable. But I had a staff member that was 0% on second pair sales. 0%. Wouldn't do them. Wouldn't even bring it up. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? Right now, she is 22% for the month of February on second pair sales. Because we continue to bring it up. We talked about it as a group, and she got comfortable with it, right? The associate that I work with is killing it. And it's only taken like 2 months of just communicating with each other. This is how you do this. This is how you work within the context. And she's learning the name of the game. She's building that trust, building rapport, and constantly just putting yourself out there. I don't think I do things the best way, but I am willing to say, hey, this is what I do. Come watch me. This is how I talk about things. These are the little games I play in the exam room. One of them, for example, again, uh, whenever I'm doing something, I always look and then I come out of the slit lamp and I'll be like, hey, do you work on computers? Or, hey, do you do X, Y, or Z? I'm like, yeah, I do. Why? I always ask when I come out of the slit lamp because they think I saw something that made me say that, right? And I'm like, well, actually, I figured you might because when I look at your lids, I see X, Y, or Z, right? It's just a little game that I play. When I come out of the slit lamp, I now have that extra bit of knowledge, and I communicate that with them, and that starts the conversation, right? It's something that I shared with her, and she's like, "Ah, it really does make a difference, right?" If you're the if you're the experienced doctor, don't be afraid to have roundtable discussions and say, "Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that?" What I found is that a younger doctor loves to hear different ways of doing things. I have been able to talk to a lot of different people and get a lot of different perspectives on things. And I've just accumulated and went through so many different little experiences that I say things a certain way or I do them a certain way because I've also been burned by patients in the past, right? Sharing that experience with a younger doctor, they appreciate the crap out of it, even if they're not going to do it your way. They just know that's something that they can do. But having perspective, having that open communication, that freedom to share, it's a great environment to work in, right? And I notice it with my managers as well. When they feel like they can share what they're experiencing, what they're going through, I share, hey, this is how I used to manage, and I fell on my face a million times. I had 3 people quit 3 consecutive Thursdays just leaving a key on my desk. It happened. When they were having trouble hiring staff members. Share your triumphs, but share your low points as well, and that will also build trust. All right, it's hard to share low points with patients, but I will tell them, hey, I did this myself, or you know what, I went to the doctor 2 years ago, and I was borderline diabetic. Yeah, my A1C was up there. It happens to the best of us, but you can get it down. These are the things you need to do, right? No one wants Everyone likes to admire Superman, but we all know we can't be him. We like the man that has stumbled and risen back up and accomplished something great because we have been that person that stumbles. And to know that we can rise up to be a common man, he's not that much different than me, that's what they're looking for. That's who they want to follow. That's who they trust. That's what I have for you. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We're to the closing thought of the episode. And today I will leave you with this one. And I thought this was great. Humbling, but great. You can't learn what you think you already know. Boom. That is something that I read this week and it really resonated with me. Because as I go through, I'm going to the P3 meetings. That's my small group, and sharing with them. And what I'm finding is a lot of the group members right now are at a different level than me or a little behind me. Like it's just we're not in the same spot. I'm like, yeah, kind of want to move up a level, but that goes back to if I have that mindset, I'm never going to get better, right? You can learn from every single person, even the startup, the $1 million practice, the $10 million practice. There's always something there to be garnered. I apply that to my life when it comes to parenting, right? Relationship advice with my wife. You can't learn what you think you already know. And the older I get, the more I realize I do not know. And it's much easier for me to walk into a situation and be like, well, let me get as much knowledge and information from these people as I can because I don't know what I'm doing, right? It's funny that people will look at me where I'm at and be like, oh my goodness, how did you get to this point? How are you doing this? I'm like, honestly, I'm just trying to figure it out myself, right? and you start explaining what you're doing, like, oh, I guess I haven't made it farther than I realized, but always have that humbleness about you. Have that mindset that you don't really know, and you can always get better. That's how I'm approaching 2025 and beyond. So take it for its worth, but you really don't know as much as you think. You really don't know as much as you think you do. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.